Yesterday we had a lesson, a session to remember about putting, and I was completely blown away about it. And it was just the lesson on how to read your putt, how to look at the landscape and come on the bottom side and have a real view of the expanse of the putt that you've got ahead. In that, when you look from the top side, it's kind of an optical illusion, isn't it?
Yeah. You can learn a lot from going to that particular point, but there's also, all the other stuff that we talked about your setup. Look, let's just talk about setup. I'm not advocating here that everybody has to set up as I'm going to suggest. Everybody will find their own way. Everybody is different. What I am saying, and what we'll talk about today in part in the preparation, what some people call fundamentals, is that I'll give a logical reason for what I'm saying. But if it doesn't work for you and you find a way that's better for you, then do it. This is not a prescriptive thing. But hopefully what I'm going to suggest today or discuss today will make sense, and you'll get it, and then you'll take it on the course to experiment with it, to be curious about it, and to learn for yourself. This is not telling you what you have to do. It's just suggesting this is a way to find the best you that you could possibly be.
Right, so we'll commence the
chipping today.
Yeah, we'll commence the lesson in a second. Just a quickie, we've got a little competition, which is quite unique for Rowney TV. Now, if you watched yesterday, there was some advice given about, whilst you're approaching the green with your putter in hand, there's one thing that you must do or look to do every time, every occasion, and not just once. So please, if you'd like to win this special prize that we've got waiting for you, it's good, this, isn't it? It is good. It is good, this. If you want to win this special prize, please put in the comments box, what is that one thing we've got to do? And if you've got any questions, ask John. Please fire them in. You know, we're here and we're ready. But let's let it rip, John. Tell us all about chipping.
Right. Chipping. Chipping, the biggest score changer, I think, in the game of golf, even more than putting. If you look at what happens on tour, even the tour players miss greens maybe 5-6 times around on average, but what they do is they get up and down. What they do is they don't turn a par into a bogey or a double bogey, and yet we get onto we miss the greens. If you're something like a 20 handicap player, you're going to make about 6 greens, 5-6 greens in regulation in a round of golf. If you're an 18 handicapper, you're going to make maybe 8 to 10. So you're going to be missing the greens 10 or 12 times around. And what happens is you miss the greens 10 or 12 times around, and then you get to the ball, and you start to panic about getting this ball close. And I'll explain exactly what happens in the swing when you do that. And instead of getting the ball up and down, you're taking 3 and then maybe 4 shots because you thin the first one, you chunk the first one, whatever. So if you want to keep the score going, if you want to reduce your handicap, if you want to get your putting stats better, because when these pros have these great putting stats, a lot of the time is they've missed the green and knocked it to a couple of inches from the hole, tap it in, and there's one of the putts. The other thing that chipping does as well is it gives you a lot more confidence on your approach shots, because if you don't hit the green, you're confident you can get up and down. And that's where the game is changed, the score is changed. It's really around the greens. And one of the things that happens, and it's happened more and more, is people get round the green, and the first thing they go and do is they go and take out the wedge and the sand wedge. And I'm saying to you that every single club in the bag, other maybe than the driver and obviously the putter, every club in the bag is a potential club for chipping. And we go to a lofted club far, far too often. So when we talk about a chip, we're talking about something from the hole to about 40 yards out. And the idea from that sort of distance is to get the ball travelling to the hole and not up in the air so much. To the hole and not up in the air. So a straighter face club, an 8 iron, a 9 iron, a 7 iron, is in my opinion, far better choice than going for the wedge and the sand wedge, which has got a lot of bounce. So first point, don't take out the lofted club. Now you can you can. I can think of holes as well, by the way. Just while I think about this on the golf round in particular, where you can be a lot further away than 30, 40 yards from the hole, and still it will be a better choice to take out a much flatter club and play the shot that we're going to describe. And I'm thinking about the fourth, for example, where you can be 60, 70, 80 yards from the hole. But there's no landing area with the one that goes up in the air. It's still going to bounce on, so you're better off knocking it short. The 11th's another one. See, when you take out the lofty club, even if you get the shot clean, generally most people leave the shot short. Leave the shot short because it's got to travel a long way up in the air. It's got to land closer to the pin. You've got to hope that you get a little bit of spin on it, and most people can't do that from that distance. So the real one to go for is the one that's a club with less loft. So let's take a look at what is happening with the chip shot. In fact, part of this is with every shot, but particularly the chip shot. So here I am with the ball. Can you see that ball on the screen, Jed?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Put pictures up, okay. So here I am with the chip shot. Now the first thing I'm going to say is, because it's just a short distance, and we're talking maybe 40 yards, let's call it 30 yards, 25 yards, you do not need a lot of body action, if any at all, to hit the ball that distance. So because we don't have to move the body so much and get this turn, we can have a much narrower stance. So we take a comfortable stance. Now you can see that my feet there are quite narrow. What I tend to do is I tend to have my feet slightly open, my hips slightly open, and just present the club behind the ball. Now, the issue here is that the club, to make clean contact, has got to hit the ground in front of the ball. And what happens is we tend to set up with the ball too far forward and our shoulders tilted like this. And you can't get into the ground in front of the ball from that position so easily. So what you do is you have the center of your chest in front of the ball. So if I was to take a ball here, there's my ball there, I put the center of my chest in front there. If I just drop the ball, and I can see it's dropping about there, so it's in front of the ball. I can have my weight slightly on the left foot, because I'm not going to transfer my weight to the right and then to the left. I'm going to leave it where it is. And I'm going to put my chest in front of the ball, slightly open, comfortable distance, and there's my setup to play this shot. Now, I mentioned there the key thing, so I'm going to take this now. Can you see that, Jed?
Yeah, we can see that.
Fine. So there's my, I put that a bit too far forward. There's my setup now. I'm going to move my foot here because I've moved that, put that in the wrong place. There's my ball. And there I am in the setup. Now, what I would want to do is actually move the ball even further away. I want a gap of about half an inch there. But I'm going to put it to the edge of that because it's quite a wide yellow mark. And what I'm going to do in my rehearsal swing is I'm going to set up with my club directly behind the ball and bring it back square, and parallel to that yellow line. And in my swing here now, I'm going to hit the yellow line. I've hit the yellow line. You can see it's on the, don't know if you can see that, but there's yellow paint on there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the same again. And I'm hitting the yellow line. I am not hitting behind the ball. I'm hitting in front of the ball. I'm hitting the yellow line. So when I go to hit the shot, obviously I'm just moving around now. I haven't got a yellow line in front of the ball this time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine there's a line in front of the ball. And if I'm on the course, what I'll do is I will set my club behind the ball. I will move it to my body here, and I'll imagine a line in front of the ball. And I will swing and hit the line, my imaginary line, in front of the ball. And then when I'm ready, I'll go to it and hit the line in front of the ball. So the key thing here is making contact with the ground in front of the ball. If you set up, now the other thing that happens, and they see this a lot, is people because they get the wedge out and whatever, they don't trust the flat face club to run the ball to the hole. what they do is they tend to take this swing and they go all the way up here with the swing, and then they decelerate at the ball and they lean back and they wonder why they're thinning it, and they wonder why they're chunking it, and they wonder why they're leaving it short. The key issue in shot preparation, other than what we talked about in the contact zone and the setup, is to pick a spot where you see the ball needing to land and then see it rolling out along the contours of the ground. You do not have to get the ball up in the air. The quicker you can get the ball onto the green and landing, generally the better it is. Not always, but generally the better it is. See the contours, see the shape, see it rolling out, and like a putt, see the ball going into the hole on the side you want with the pace, and see your hand picking it out. Because the question you should ask yourself when you get to round the green with a chip shot is, what does it take for me to hold this chip? Not can I avoid taking 3? What does it take for me to hold the chip? And I know that people will hold chips far more often if they start to take this, absorb this feeling of where the ball is, where it's rolling, where it's landing, where it's going, and they'll certainly get it closer. Now, again, like putting, if you're faced with this hole here, don't be afraid of going past the hole. Put the hole in a bigger circle and get it into that circle to start with. Make it easy on yourself. Let's get the ball up to the hole. Now, the other point about that as well is what is the ball landing on? Is the ball going to land on an upslope? Is the ball going to land on a downslope? What club does it take for me to land it on a flat piece of ground and let it roll out? Because the way that it lands is always going to affect the way how far it rolls out. Does that make sense, Jeff?
It does. I've got a few questions coming in a bit, but just keep going. Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah. So we've got this. So then what happens as well is that let's just talk about those flat face clubs for a minute. The easiest chip that you can make, I'm going to suggest to most people watching this, will be with your 3-wood, your fairway wood, your hybrid. It will not be with an iron. I actually had a conversation yesterday with a colleague up in the northeast who does a lot of school children golf, goes around all the schools and whatever. He was saying it wasn't about this, what we're doing today, nothing to do with it. It just happened to be in the conversation. And he was saying that there's a couple of sisters that are tremendous golfers. They are 12, 13, 14, something like that. And they're in the English squads and whatever. And they're at this home course. They get out the 3-woods and the hybrids and they chip absolutely beautifully. It's so easy to just send the ball to the target like an elevated putt. It's just an easy shot. It flies off the club face. You don't have to work at it. And he said when they go to all these England golf things and whatever, they come back with the sand wedge and the 58 and whatever, and they don't take out the woods, so the hybrids out of the bag, and they don't chip as well. So just experiment with flatter face clubs. Leave the wedges in the bag. John,
get the ball to the hole. Yeah,
John. Right. So I'm just thinking about the 7th hole at Rowney, and I'm sure
7th.
So yeah. The 7th, yes. Those that golf at Rowney know that it's stroke 1, and sometimes you're short of the green, and you've got a chip onto the green. So you know what I'm saying. It's a plateau. It's a bit higher, and you're on a bit of a slopey bit of fairway, aren't you? It can be quite difficult. Sometimes the lie can be bare.
How far away are you?
Well, say within about 20, 30 yards, 10 yards. Yeah. It's just you've got to go up the step, and inside, I feel duty bound to hit something like a 58 or a 54. Mainly like a sand wedge, really, to try and land it on the green. But common sense tells me, why don't I just bonk it up the hill and just let it roll onto the green? This is always one that I get asked the question, in the inner mind, what to do.
Right. Does your skill set allow you to get the ball with confidence in the air and land it on the green? How far, right? And how far have you got to land on the green? You can't see where you've got to land it. I'm saying to you that you get more association with the target with that bump, with that run up the shot, with that. Take a 7-iron, take a 3-wood, take a 5-wood, take a 9-iron, take an 8-iron, take whatever you like. Leave the wedge in the bag.
So
leave it in the bag.
What we're saying, and I kind of know the answer to this question, is that, and I play with other golfers who instantly get the sand wedge out. And they think they can float it on the green, and you just see capitulation. And the worst thing that happens is that thin shot, it scampers through the back of the green and into the gorse at the back. It just makes you wonder, really. Take the simple option, eh?
Time and time again. And the other thing is, there's more fun, there's more imagination, there's more flair. There's more connection to the target and to the shot by getting the ball. Now, look, let's talk about when you have to get the ball a little bit up in the air. But if you get into around the green with these shots, and this is the other thing about playing these chip shots, if I'm playing this way, and I've got from this distance to the wall, I can't really see from there. I've got a few feet here going to what I'll say is the green the other side, and then there's 20 odd feet there for the green. Well, I've got this rough here to get through, this semi-rough. So I don't want to land it here, I want to land it on the green. The key issue here is just taking a little bit more loft. You don't need the wedge. You can have the wedge if you want it. It depends how it's sitting. But the key issue here is to set up exactly the same, and to put and be mindful when you're making rehearsal swing to keep the tempo on the backswing exactly the same as the tempo on the downswing and follow through. What tends to happen is as we get closer to the green and the shot appears to become more delicate, what we focus on is just getting it out of here to drop it there. Still be purposeful to the target, set up exactly as I've said with your chest in front, but put an emphasis on having an easy, smooth, complete and utter no change tempo in the swing and commit to that shot. What tends to happen is, and it happens with wedges in particular, is that we introduce tension about here. And it doesn't matter whether you overswing or short. The shorter the swing is, the harder it can become to keep your tempo even and constant. And so it is the introduction of tension as we get to here, we panic a little bit at the ball. The flatter face club will work for you. You've only got to move it in the air. You can move it in the air that far with a little 9-iron. It doesn't matter. All it is this. Nice and relaxed, slightly open, chest in front of the ball. It's a tempo. There's a stub. That doesn't matter. It's not even 9-iron. And there we go. And a tempo. It's just a little easy tempo. No big rush at the ball. There you go. It's just a clip in front of the ball. And when you get to understand how much more the ball rolls out, the easier it will become. So I urge people not to take out the big lofty clubs so often. There are times when you need them, but most of the time they are not helping you. See the ball landing as early as you can on the green and let it roll out and get it to the hole. That's how you chip. And it's all about that setup and that tempo and that flow and that ease. Oh, one other thing. The other thing that's very important as well on the chip, one of the things I do try and advocate is that as you're going to the ball here, we talked about club face before, as we go into the ball here, what I like to see is people present the club face square to the ball target and leave it square to the target. Let's not have it closing off and up. Square to the target, there, square. Now, you notice what happens if you do that, is what happens is that you end up with your hands in front. I don't know if you can see that. If you end up with the strike position where your hands retain the shaft lean on the club. So you present the face of the club to the target. Present the face to the target. Present the face to the target. Okay? And that's chipping. But chipping with flatter face clubs, chipping looking to hold it, chipping to see where it lands, how it rolls out. Stop trying to fly the ball to the hole. It's just not going to happen. You're going to thin more, you're going to duff them more. Let the club do the work for you. Right? It's just a fallacy. And marking your height, all these flop shots and up here and whatever, the ball's got to go that way to the hole. You know, when these pros are playing these pitches in from 80, 90 yards, you know, they're not flying it anywhere near as high as you think. They're just getting it in there. Got to move the ball to the hole. We don't play the game up there. We play it down here.
That's fantastic.
So that's my chipping bits. Yeah. I don't know if I missed anything out there, but possibly. But there you go.
That's absolutely great, John. I love the yellow lines. Do you paint them outside your house?
Yeah. Well, look, when you go on the golf course, Jed, get a golf tee and just scratch the ground in front of the ball, about an inch in front of the ball. Make a scratch mark there. Come to the side of the ball, because obviously you can't do this in competition. You won't do it. But go to behind the ball. You've got your scratch mark there. Bring the club back here, and have a rehearsal swing and hit the ground on the scratch. You could actually put two scratches, one there, miss the first scratch and hit the second. But do you see what I mean? In that, if you don't set up with the ball in front, or with the middle of the chest in front of the ball, maybe the weight slightly on the left side, and your shoulders more level, not here, you're not going to be getting to the ground in front of the ball that easily, are you? So getting a setup which allows you more of an opportunity to get into that strike position, even on the chips, is a significant factor in delivering the club more often through the ball.
There's some great rules there, John, and I can advocate hitting the imaginary line in front of the ball. I do love that, and we've had Paul Lowy on. He's applauding the lesson today, and I even think Paul Lowy, he's a man that uses blades. He probably does the odd chip and run around the course, doesn't he? He must do.
Yeah, I hope so. But look, just let's go. But let's go into these things. The average handicap for a man in the UK, round figures, is about 17. For a woman, it's about 27. It's been like that for the last 60, 80 years. What do people think? What skill sets do people think they possess in order to get this ball so clean that it goes up in the air and lands in a precise spot to roll into the hole when it's got to go up there first? The amount of travel you've got to get and spin you've got to get to control that. Far easier.
Yeah, you're
Much
right.
better percentage shot to just get into that.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough either how easy these fairway woods and hybrids are to chip with. I don't know why people leave them in the bag and go for the wedge. When I do lessons on chipping, we put the golf bag on the side, we take the driver out, and we take the putter out and say, right, we're going to chip with all of these now. And just about everybody says it's easier to use the woods than it is the irons. They go and try it for a couple of rounds, and then they leave the woods in the bag and they go back to the irons, and yet it works with the woods. It's so easy.
Well, John, I mean, now is the time to do it during lockdown. There's no competition, so you can go out on the course and refine your skills. Now, we have a winner from our competition earlier on.
All right.
And, of course, what do you seek to do on every green? It is, of course, repair the pitch mark. Not just your own, but if there's any others around. So Bruce Thorne has chipped in, first of all, with the correct answer. And you're going to be amazed at the quality of this prize. It really is. Now, we know that Bruce is a dedicated Arsenal supporter. And we've had our backroom team quickly make up these prizes. And here you go. It's 5 pitch mark repairers in Arsenal team colours. Can you believe that? So big round of applause for Bruce for getting today's prize question correct, and maybe have one for yourself, maybe give Laura one and hand the rest out to your playing partners, so everyone wins.
Well, let's just I was thinking about this pitch mark thing, Jed, actually. let's assume that out of those that might pick up and watch this and watch yesterday and whatever, that 20 of those people decide they're going to repair pitch marks, and 20 of those people pay twice a week, and 20 of those people, while they play that game, repair 2 pitch marks per round. That's 36 pitch marks they repair per round. It's going to take them 10 or 15 seconds to repair the pitch marks. Nothing. That's 72. That's 72 per day, right? That's over 700. You know, it's just a massive amount. Within 2 weeks, we wouldn't have a bloody pitch mark on the greens, would we? Within 2 weeks.
Should we do that, folks? Should we do that, Rowney people? We will become the club that is the pitch mark specialist emporium. So there we go, John. Now tomorrow we've got approach shots, keeping it simple and reducing the risk. So we could perhaps go into a bit of tactics on Rowney itself, maybe, because there are some holes, the likes of the 4th hole, where you get asked the question, and the 4th hole, the name of it is called Landfall. Landfall is the clue in the name. Is the clue in the name about how to play? Could be.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. Let me summarise then on this chipping, if I may, Jed. So get yourself set up in a nice, relaxed manner. Let's have your chest, the middle of your chest, in front of the ball. Let's have an external focus on hitting the ground in front of the ball, even an inch in front. That's fine. And let's relax in the swing and keep a tempo, even on the short ones. Even on the short ones, let the club do the work and send it and roll it. Get the ball on the ground earlier than you have been. Let it run out to the holes and visualize the shot going in the hole. I will just, if I may, finish with this. This is absolutely true. I went over to Alicante to do my NLP golf qualification. There was quite a new qualification. There was only me and a guy called Keith Benson on the course with the instructor. Part of it, maybe a trial for the instructor as well. And we were doing this circle of excellence and the NLP stuff, and we did chipping with the NLP, and we went into this mode here. We were rehearsing and practicing and all this sort of stuff, and visualizing, seeing the shot. Visualization, massive in this, massive, to see the ball where it's going to land and see it roll out. Anyway, what happened was, this was a huge chipping area, and Peter, the coach, says, "Okay, guys, let's see how quickly we can get 3 chip-ins." I absolutely, we're chipping in for, quite a distance here. We're going 40 feet, probably that. Same hole. Keith's behind me, I'm here, and on the other side Peter is. And Keith loves it, and he's there, and he's visualising, he's hitting the ground in front, and he's seeing the shot. Halfway to the hole, he says, "There's the first," and the ball goes in. I go there, I do exactly the same. I'm in the shot, I get absorbed with everything, I hit the ball, it gets to us. There's the second, and it goes in. And Peter says, no pressure on me then, and he holed his as well. There was a load of on the balcony, and he went absolutely bloody bananas with it. But 3 on the bounce, simply because we picked our spot, we absorbed ourselves in it, we kept the tempo easy, and we didn't use a wedge. None of us used wedges. Anyway, so you can hold chips. And they are the score changer in a game of golf. The better you chip, the better your score will be.
No question about it. We've all seen. So big round of applause for John today in the lesson, and we'll be back tomorrow at 8:30, and maybe we'll have another quiz, maybe another prize.
Yeah.
But please, we've had a good audience today. It's been lovely to have you on board and online. So please share, subscribe, join in, and just enjoy your golf. There's a few tee times available today down at Rowney, and just looking out the window, it's nice and dry. So there we go. Goodbye, John. See you tomorrow.
Cheers now. Take care.